The most frightening part of the Sumerian map is not the kingdom inside the earth. It is the path leading into it. A hidden kingdom could be myth, a buried realm could be religious symbolism. A strange drawing below the land could be a priestly vision of the underworld. But a path means someone believed the place could be reached. And this path does not begin in fantasy. It begins under sacred ground, near old foundations, water symbols, and a threshold marked with signs of silence and warning. It descends from the world of men into a region drawn with gates, boundary lines, and symbols of rule. That means the map does not show chaos beneath the earth. It shows structure. If the Sumerians imagined a kingdom below, then the question is not only what was down there. The question is who ruled it, who entered it, and why the route was preserved at all. Stay until the end because the final section of the map may reveal the entrance they used and the terrible price of crossing into the kingdom below. To understand why this Sumerian map is so unsettling, we have to begin with the path, not the kingdom, the path. Because a hidden kingdom inside the earth could be dismissed as myth. Ancient people imagined underworlds, lower realms, caves of the dead, secret chambers, and places where gods, spirits, and judges lived beyond the reach of ordinary men. But a path is different. A path means access. A path means someone believed the kingdom could be reached. And if the Sumerian map shows the path they took down, then the ancient writers were not only imagining a world beneath the surface, they were describing a crossing. That is the first open loop. Who took the path? Was it a king, a priest, a messenger, a dying hero, or beings from the hidden kingdom itself? Because the path does not look like an ordinary tunnel. It does not begin at a city gate or a mountain road. It begins under sacred ground near old foundations, deep water symbols, and a threshold marked with signs of silence and warning. That matters. In Sumerian thought, the world below was not empty dirt. It was a realm with order. The dead had a place. Hidden waters had a place. Old powers had a place. The world of men stood above all of it like a thin roof over something ancient and patient. So a kingdom inside the earth would not be random darkness. A kingdom means walls, laws, borders, rulers, a center of power. And if there is a path into it, then the boundary between the surface and the lower world was not absolute. It could be crossed, but only in a certain way. Imagine the map laid out under lamplight in a temple chamber. At first, the markings seem familiar. Rivers, sacred precincts, boundary signs, the outer shape of a known land. But then one line breaks away from the surface routes and begins to descend. It bends beneath a foundation symbol. It passes through water, then silence, then a gate. And beyond that gate, the map opens into a region no surface kingdom claims. A hidden kingdom, drawn not as chaos, but as organized space. That is what makes the map so dangerous. Because if the lower world has geography, then it has memory. If it has gates, then it has control. If it has a road, then movement between worlds was possible, or at least feared. And fear leaves maps behind. The first section of the path is marked by water, not river water, deep water. The kind ancient traditions tied to creation, hidden wisdom, and the foundations beneath the visible world. Water was the boundary element. It reflected the sky above, but it also descended into darkness. A well could be a source of life, but also a mouth into the unseen. So the first step down was not through stone, it was through the deep. That suggests the path was not only physical, it was ritual. A traveler could not simply walk into the kingdom inside the earth. He had to cross the first boundary, the water that separated surface life from lower order. The second section is marked by silence. This is where the map becomes colder. Silence is not emptiness in ancient maps. Silence is instruction. Do not speak here. Do not call names here. Do not ask questions here. Because words had power. A careless name could attract attention. A ritual phrase spoken in the wrong place could open contact. A human voice in the lower path might be heard by things that were not supposed to hear it. So the map is not saying the path was quiet. It is saying the traveler had to become quiet. That means the path did not only move downward through Earth, it stripped away human authority. Above, a king could command armies. Above, a priest could speak sacred formulas. Above, a scribe could name the world in signs. But on the path below, speech itself became danger. The third section is marked by a gate. And that changes everything again. Because a path with no gate is just a passage. A path with a gate is a border. Someone controlled entry. Someone decided who crossed. Someone or something guarded the kingdom inside the earth. This is the second open loop. What waited at the gate? The map does not draw a monster in the childish sense. It does not show claws or teeth or a beast crouching in the dark. It shows a boundary symbol beside what looks like a seated mark, a sign of authority. That suggests the gate was not guarded by chaos. It was guarded by office, by law, by a power with permission to deny entry. This is more frightening than a monster because monsters can be fought. A law cannot. A traveler reaching that gate would not be facing a creature. He would be facing the rules of the lower kingdom. Imagine a priest descending with 2 attendants behind him. The air grows cooler. The walls sweat with mineral water. The lamp flame becomes smaller, as if the darkness is pressing on it. They reach the silent section and no one speaks. Even their breathing feels too loud. Then the passage widens. A stone gate stands ahead, black and smooth, set into the earth like it grew there. There is no handle, no visible hinge. Only symbols carved around the frame. Water below. Silence on the sides, a crowned mark above. The priest places his hand near the stone but does not touch it. He knows the rule. At this gate, the living do not command. They request. That is the kind of world the map reveals, not fantasy, procedure, a path with stages, a descent with rules, a kingdom with authority. But why would anyone enter? That is the third open loop. The map hints that the path was used in a time of crisis. The signs near the entrance suggest imbalance, a broken crown, disturbed water, and a temple mark without sound. A silent temple. That appears again and again in these ancient warnings. When the temples fall silent, the surface world has lost contact with the order above. And when the surface loses order, people turn downward, to hidden powers, to forbidden roots, to kingdoms no living man should approach. Maybe a king sent messengers into the earth to ask for judgment. Maybe priests descended to restore a broken law. Maybe someone sought knowledge from the lower realm. Or maybe the path was not used by humans going down at all. Maybe it was the route they took to enter our world. That possibility is what makes the title so dangerous. The path they took to enter. It can mean humans entering the kingdom, but it can also mean the kingdom entering the human age. The path works both ways, and ancient maps rarely warn so heavily about a road unless the road can carry danger in both directions. Now we have to follow what happens beyond the gate, because the map does not stop at the entrance to the kingdom. It continues. That is important. If the map were only warning, it might mark the gate and end there. But it shows inner regions, boundary lines, circular enclosures, a central seat, and smaller marks placed like districts or stations inside the earth. This is not a cave. This is not a grave. This is organized territory, a kingdom. The first inner mark lies just beyond the gate and appears surrounded by boundary symbols. It may represent the outer district, the place where outsiders were held before moving deeper. That alone tells us the kingdom was not imagined as open. Entry did not mean freedom, it meant custody. A person who crossed the gate entered another law. The second inner mark is tied to water again, a basin, a channel, or a lower river. This suggests that water was not only at the entrance. It ran through the hidden kingdom itself. In many ancient traditions, lower waters connect realms. They are not just resources, they are roads. A river below the earth can carry souls, messages, offerings, or commands. So if the kingdom inside the earth has water, it may have had its own circulation, its own hidden lifeblood. The third mark is the central seat. This is the most chilling part of the map, because a central seat means rule. A throne, a court, a place where authority gathers. The lower kingdom was not drawn as abandoned. It had a center, and around that center the symbols become stricter: silence, boundary, judgment, and return. Return. That little mark changes the whole story, because it suggests the kingdom inside the earth was not only a place where things ended, it was also a place from which something could come back. This is where the path becomes dangerous again. A traveler might enter the kingdom seeking wisdom. A priest might go down seeking a decree. A king might send offerings to repair broken order. But if the map includes a return mark near the central seat, then the lower kingdom was not passive. It could respond. It could send something upward, a message, a judgment, a messenger, or a presence. Imagine the surface city while the priest is below. Above, people wait in the temple courtyard. No drums play, no singers begin the hymn. The king stands behind a curtain, pretending calm. The sacred basin has turned dark. The moon is hidden behind clouds. Hours pass, then the ground vibrates once, not enough to crack the walls, enough to silence the crowd. At the lower entrance, the attendants return, but the priest is not with them. One carries his lamp, the other carries a tablet sealed in black clay. Neither speaks. The king orders the seal broken. Inside is only one line: "The kingdom has answered." That is the kind of consequence the map seems to imply. The path was not only a route of exploration, it was a route of exchange. And exchange with a hidden kingdom inside the earth is never safe. Because the surface world and the lower world do not value the same things. A king asks for power. The lower kingdom gives judgment. A priest asks for knowledge. The lower kingdom takes a name. A city asks for protection. The lower kingdom demands silence. This may be why the path was eventually sealed. Not because it failed, because it worked. That is the most frightening possibility. A false road is harmless, a real road is dangerous, and a road to a kingdom beneath the earth that can answer back is too dangerous to leave open. The map's later markings show a broken section near the return path. The line leading back upward is damaged, interrupted, almost deliberately scratched away. That suggests something happened after the crossing. Someone tried to erase the way back. Why? Maybe those who entered did not return. Maybe those who returned came back changed. Maybe something followed them. Or maybe the hidden kingdom sent an answer that the surface world was not ready to receive. This is where the map's warning becomes personal. Because every forbidden descent story asks the same question: what part of you remains behind when you come back? In the surface world, identity is held by names, family, rank, and memory. But below the earth, the map's symbols suggest those things lose power. Silence takes speech. Water washes away boundaries. The gate removes authority. The kingdom imposes its own law. So a man might return with his body, but not with everything he took down. And that may be why the path was feared. Not simply because people could die there, because they could return wrong. Now imagine the one survivor of the descent. He comes back through the sealed lower gate before dawn. His face is pale. His mouth is dry. He refuses wine. He refuses food. When the priests ask what he saw, he keeps looking at the ground. Finally, he whispers, "They have roads below us." That line would be enough to terrify a city, because it means the surface is not alone. It means the earth beneath the temple is not just foundation. It is roof. The roof of another kingdom. And if there are roads below, then hidden movement may be happening even while the surface believes itself safe. That is the deepest horror of the map. The kingdom inside the earth does not need to invade from far away. It is already beneath the world of men. Its path begins under sacred ground. Its gate waits in silence. Its central seat is marked with return, and the road they took to enter may still exist somewhere under the layers of broken cities, buried temples, and forgotten foundations. By this point, the Sumerian map has revealed three disturbing truths. There is a kingdom inside the earth. There is a path leading into it. And that path may have been used not only to descend, but to bring something back. Now the final question becomes unavoidable. Who came back from the kingdom below, and what followed them to the surface? And now we reach the moment the map was leading to from the beginning. The return from the kingdom below. Because the greatest danger was never only that someone could enter, it was that something could come back. The path down had rules: water, silence, gate, boundary, judgment, return. And that final mark, return, changes the entire map. It means the hidden kingdom inside the earth was not a dead place. It was not only a mythic underworld where the story ended. It was a realm that could answer the surface. And according to the darkest reading of the map, someone once followed the path down and did not come back alone. Imagine the lower gate opening before dawn. The city above is still asleep. The temple lamps are almost out. The priests wait in the sealed chamber, their faces pale from a night without answers. Then the stone moves, slowly. A line of cold air enters the room. Two attendants emerge first. Their eyes are wide, their hands are empty. Behind them comes the messenger who was sent below. But something is wrong. He walks like a man listening to footsteps behind him. The priests ask what he saw. He does not answer. Then a sound comes from the passage, not a voice, not an animal. A second set of steps. That is the revelation. The path into the kingdom inside the earth was not sealed because no one could survive it. It was sealed because someone did. And when he returned, the boundary between the surface and the lower kingdom had already been broken. The map's final warning makes sense only now. Do not follow the path unless you are prepared for the kingdom to follow you back. That was the price. To enter the hidden kingdom was to be seen by it. To ask for its knowledge was to invite its attention. And once the kingdom below knew the path was open, the surface world could no longer pretend it was alone. So what does this Sumerian map really reveal? A kingdom inside the earth, a path leading down from sacred ground, a route marked by water, silence, gates, judgment, and return. Maybe the map was symbolic. Maybe it described the underworld, the journey of the dead, or a priestly ritual meant to show that no living person should cross certain boundaries without permission. Maybe the kingdom was not physical, but spiritual, a way for the Sumerians to describe the hidden order beneath life, death, and divine law. But even as myth, the warning is powerful. Because the map does not show chaos below the earth, it shows structure, a kingdom. And kingdoms do not remain passive when their borders are crossed. That is the deepest fear hidden in the map. The surface world believes it is standing on solid ground. But the map asks us to imagine something else. That beneath the temples, beneath the cities, beneath the roads of men, there is another order with its own gates, laws, and memory. And if a path connects the two worlds, then every descent is also an invitation. The Sumerians may have preserved the map not to guide travelers downward, but to warn guardians above. Do not mistake the lower kingdom for darkness. Do not mistake silence for emptiness. Do not enter because the road exists. And above all, do not believe you can return untouched. In the end, the most frightening part of the map is not the kingdom inside the earth. It is the path, because a hidden kingdom can wait forever. But a path means one day someone may follow it again. And if this Sumerian map shows a kingdom inside the earth, there is another lost Sumerian map that points to a gate beneath the earth itself. Watch that video next, because once you understand the kingdom below, the gate stops sounding like an entrance and starts sounding like the border of a world that may already know we are above it.